To lead this panel, I would like to welcome Dr. Erdal Ozkaya, who is the Regional Chief Information Security Officer, Standard Chartered Bank, UAE. I mean, if you are a regular audience, then you've seen Dr. Erdal engaging with us in several ways. He's also done a webinar with us, and he's been kind enough to host this session with us. A little about Dr. Erdal. He's a tenured cybersecurity professional and has juggled the roles of a security advisor, speaker, lecturer, and author as well, having excelled in business development, management, and academics focused towards securing the cyberspace. We also have the fellow panelists who are going to be joining Dr. Erdal. We have Sultan Altukhaim, Director, Information Security Department, Risk Management, Capital Markets Authority, Saudi Arabia. We have Abdullah Biary, who is the CISO for Salama Cooperative Insurance Company. We have Thomas, Group Security Lead, Emirates Group. Saqib Chaudhry, who is also the CISO at Cleveland Clinic, Abu Dhabi, could not join us because he had a last-minute commitment. But we also have Majd Sinan, Trend Micro Country Manager, UAE. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and over to you, Dr. Erdal. Everybody, once again, please start posting your questions. Dr. Erdal will be taking them at the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, CISO Magazine, and all sponsors to make this happening. I'm really glad to be with thought leaders such as Thomas, Majid, Sultan, and I think we are missing Mr. Abdullah, but we're missing also Saqib. So I'm going to try to make this panel really interactive. There are so many questions to ask, but unfortunately we have only less than 1 hour time. So I mean, I can see my screen first. Thomas, can you quickly introduce yourself to us? What you do? How can you ensure that we fly securely with Emirates, and so on?
Thanks, Erdal. I mean, introduction quickly. I mean, everything was said. I'm owning cybersecurity for the Emirates Group, for the airline, and I think, you know, while everybody believes, you know, in COVID times we are not busy, I think we're busier than ever before, just in a different way, right? I think the whole COVID scenario was a difficult one. Remote working coming in. So leveraging literally, you know, what machine learning has given to us is leveraging the facility to see how things change, you know, get the blind spots highlighted is something that was very crucial for us. Like I said, workforce moving from one element to the other, from on-site to off-site, is a completely different threat. And then, of course, you know, an increase in phishing, I would say an increase, not overall in numbers, but a change towards COVID-relating phishing is one of the things that happened to us, where even our customers were affected, right? People are getting emails to say, hey, refund your ticket here from stuff that's not initiated by us. I think that's where I would say we learned quickly by leveraging machine learning.
Thank you, Thomas. I will be coming back with more specific questions. Next to you, I can see Majid from Trend Micro. Can you please quickly introduce yourself to us and maybe how very quickly Trend Micro can help us to be secure? Again, this is the introduction, please don't forget.
Thank you very much, Doctor. My name is Majid Sinan. I'm the country manager for UAE from Trend Micro. And basically, my main mission with my team in UAE to support our strategic partners and our customers with the security solutions that provide the safety for their assets and data, and to make our Trend Micro vision and mission extended to the UAE and the region by making the world safer place for digital transformation of data.
Thank you, Majid. Dear Sultan, can you please quickly introduce yourself to us as well, what you do, and of course, we will be back for details. I mean, what is Capital Market Authority doing for us to be more secure? Quickly, please.
Sure. Thank you. Actually, the Capital Market Authority is regulating the stock market, regulating the brokers and dealers, the whole stakeholders in the stock market here in Saudi. So in my department, we are actually responsible internally for the information security and as well as the regulatory part of the market. So we're playing actually two roles in this role. Yeah.
Thank you. Abdullah, again, same question to you. If you can please introduce yourself, and of course, I'm gonna touch your company as well, what you do quickly.
Okay. Hello everyone, I'm Abdullah Biary. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer at Salama Cooperative Insurance Company. We work under the Salama regulatory to imply the Saudi Arabian Monetary Agency's requirements within cybersecurity. So basically, we have a framework that works on the various aspects of cybersecurity. And that's a little introduction about me.
Thank you very much. Thomas, you started it already saying how this COVID era makes us busier than before. So do you think if we had, I mean, I know, by the way, Emirates and Thomas, we used to work, me as Microsoft in the past together. Now I'm in the bank, but I'm going to assume I don't know much how advanced they are. I'm just going to pretend I don't know. So how is ML and AI helping us as customers? I mean, I'm a platinum flyer. And what else do you think this shifting era is going to take us?
I mean, first of all, I mean, we're talking about ML and AI. And I'll make a bold statement, you know, AI, I have not really experienced myself. I just believe, you know, behind everything are people doing good work and doing stuff, right? I think the big game changer for us is, you know, leveraging data and machine learning capabilities to get insights into data. And of course, you know, the more insights you generate, the more educated decision and risk-based decisions can you do. So, you know, and I think there's multiple and a wide spread of use cases that you could look at. I mean, if we wouldn't have the capabilities that we have deployed today, I think we wouldn't see what we see today. So if I wouldn't know my people moved home, you know, my ML capability would have told me, hey, your people are not in the office anymore. You know, the threats are not hitting your corporate environment anymore. The insider threats, I would call it, they're hitting now from the external world. And I think drawing conclusions out of all of that is the big game changer here. And I think what making that logic and having a logic out of that helps us. Of course, so seeing threats, seeing how threat patterns change, seeing, like I said, it's for us, I don't think it's an increase in phishing attempts. I think it's a change how phishing is being used, right? And I think making use of the situation that people are at home. On the customer side, so that was the inside focus. On the customer side, we're doing the same thing, right? Do we see a different behavior of our customers, how they book and what they do, right? And therefore, you also see, I would say, the fraudsters who are trying to actually steal customer credentials, etc. Or we see this attempt I explored before, where, you know, somebody claiming to be Emirates, trying to say, hey, refund here, give me your credit card here, etc. Right? So those things we can see through the use of big data, through machine learning, etc.
Thank you. Let me ask different questions. So to everybody else, I want to go to Mr. Abdullah and ask, like, you as CISO, what do you think that all this changes with Thomas mentioned, that all this being trying to attempt to be someone, all this hacking attempts, all this changing shift of being workforce office space to mobile. I mean, some of us were always mobile, but what do you think you as CISO can recommend to people that listen to us to not be falling to be claimed on people they are to pretend Emirates?
So basically, raising the awareness of phishing attempts, how phishing attempts are being conducted, whether it's through email or through phone calls, and through various numerous ways that hackers try to access and manipulate your systems and gain confidential information. So another method is using the proactive approach in cybersecurity, which is to include primitively identifying cybersecurity weaknesses and adding processes to identify threats before they occur. Starting with threat hunting, which is proactively and interactively isolate and neutralize advanced threats that evade advanced security solutions. Ethical hacking is another method to find and exploit vulnerabilities and weaknesses within your systems, and proactive network and endpoint monitoring to make sure that everything is safe and clear. Hope that answers it.
It does. Sultan, same question to you. As CISO, what would you recommend to everybody who's listening, or not everybody is a CISO probably here, but the people in security, or how did you work with your CIO and other teams to ensure the effects? I mean, I know you're an expert of risk management. How did you take this risk to move forward green than amber and red?
Yeah, great. Actually, it's a journey that we started earlier. The partnership model we have with the IT is effective. The ultimate owner of the cyber risk is the board. So it's not a call we make as an information security department or risk department. Neither it's an IT decision. So once this cyber risk framework is in place and the roles and responsibilities are identified of who is evaluating the risks, who will approve the countermeasures, the mitigating factors of the risk, who will accept the risk, and what's the risk tolerance that the board or the top management has determined. Once that is in place, I think it will be more of an execution rather than debating or conflicting each time. So we set this let's say ecosystem with all the stakeholders, especially the IT, because the priorities are different as cyber information security versus IT. It's always conflicting priorities. However, we take into consideration the business requirements, the business need as main driver of bringing the risk rating or as you said, maybe the risk criticality to an acceptable level. Sometimes yes, we do live with high risk, with critical risks, because there are challenges, because there are things you cannot risk losing. However, the board members are always aware and always informed of all the risk assessment, the routine risk assessment, and let's say the ad hoc. Sometimes we have an initiative to introduce a new service, connecting with a third party. It wasn't scheduled or planned for, but we need to escalate it to the right, let's say, body, which is the board. So I just want to assure that the board involvement is critical of calling shots at the end of the assessment.
Thank you. Now, putting all this, dear Majid, being a vendor, security vendor, you know what's happening in the region. I know Trend Micro has a great coverage of security products. You hear it, my fellow CISOs and security professionals. What do you think you as company, I mean, you hit some prompts, can help us to go to the next level and be more secure, of course?
Thank you very much, Doctor, for the question. Actually, the goal for any cybersecurity team in any organization, especially the enterprise one, is to provide protection detections and to be able to respond for any attack or the cyber threats, and provide the data and the information which is needed to conduct investigation after this happened. And our statistics showed us that more than half our enterprise in the world are using 25 or more cybersecurity technology, different cybersecurity technologies in their infrastructure. This is where we create something we call a silo visibility for each part of the infrastructure in this organization. And lacking of full visibility for the organization it will not enable the cybersecurity team in that organization to conduct their job and to achieve their goals. So what we recommend as a cybersecurity vendor is for our customers, especially the enterprise one, to have full visibility on their infrastructure and to be able to do this mitigation for any cyber threats across entire infrastructure. So I can say the biggest challenge for our security partners team is to have full visibility on their organizations and their infrastructure. And they need intelligence between the solutions they have to share the knowledge and the data.
I totally agree. Knowledge is the power. And I think we all know, I mean, I work with Thomas and I know how great he is. I didn't work closely with Sultan and Abdullah, but I know, I look at their profiles. We all know knowledge is the power, and the more we know about our assets, the better we can secure them. So my next question is going to be, now we addressed what's happening in the region. We addressed the COVID issues. Again, probably I'm going to start this time with Sultan to shuffle it. Dear Sultan, in your opinion, what, do you believe AI or machine learning is going to help us to be more secure? Because as Majid said, we have some issues today. You have to know, I mean, if you're working in an organization such Emirates, which is extremely complex, they have flights, they have ticketing, they have, all the security aspects as a group. You, again, being in a capital market authority, which attracts hackers, do you think machine learning and AI will not I myself and AI will help you to be more successful on covering the areas, or we are still too early? And if you think it's going to help you, if it doesn't at the moment, if it does, can you share your experiences, please?
Yeah, sure. Actually, this is the time where the machine learning is most needed, because especially with the COVID-19, the setup is not usual. The connections, the behaviors, the usual or business as usual is not there anymore. So you really need to create patterns, models to monitor the irregularities. It needs a lot of fine-tuning. It needs a lot of data and insights just to make sure you spot the irregular activity. So I think the models is needed at this time more than in the past, because the whole setup was not predicted. The whole ecosystem is not predicted. So this is one side, which is the let's say from security operations center type of view. However, also we're utilizing machine learning in monitoring the market, the behavior of the investors, the behaviors of the transactions, just to make sure that the transparency, the legality is there when it comes to stock market, transactions. Again, the circumstances are not usual, so that's why you need the non-conventional way of monitoring the behavior. However, there are a lot of false positives, as you know, but with more fine-tuning, with more with more accurate data, you will minimize your spectrum to something acceptable. So I do believe it's the time now to utilize the machine learning techniques.
Thank you. Abdullah, similar question to you. Now, I know that many companies are shifting to it, but if I would ask you, what are the major risks and concerns in this AI and machine learning, in your opinion?
So the major risks and concerns from my point of view is endpoint detection and response. How when you detect it and having employees, making sure that these logs are not fraudulent logs or nothing that's spectacle or fishy. So you have to make sure that you have the good staff to monitor these logs and the endpoint detection, And also for worst case situations, to have a disaster recovery in case of anything that happens that's faulty, you would have a way to run back your business, working back again.
Thank you, Thomas. Again, you as security veteran, you being in the industry so long, what would be your recommendations to the people that are here to secure their organizations? Because as I mentioned, and as everybody knows, you are helping to secure a very complex organization, which is worldwide successful. There is lots of competition. There is lots of, I'm pretty sure, I'm just guessing up, nation states attacks. There is all this stuff happening in the background, and your neck is, I think, you are facing the senior leadership of Emirates. You're facing the customers. You are, I mean, my life, I'm gonna fly to Australia very soon with Emirates, is depend on the security that you provide. So what would you recommend for the people that can learn from you? Actually, it doesn't have to be just AI or machine learning.
But maybe I think the biggest, and I'll bring it back to ML and AI, I think the biggest challenge we all have at the moment is the future lack of talent. I think we all have a challenge to hire people, to bring people on, to train them in cyber, retain them, of course, because there's so much on demand. And that brings consequences with it. And I think if you haven't done and spent your time on how do you nurture your talent, how do you bring people in your teams, whether that's for preventive measures, whether that's technology related, whether that's risk, or even incident response, forensics, etc. We all struggle, and I think that's a global scenario we're talking about. We all struggle in that work. Okay, so I think we jointly, and I think I speak probably to all, even the participants over here, you know, we jointly can do better and potentially work on programs to do things. That's for me the biggest, I think the #1 priority I would look for long-term sustainability. The second one, of course, is to make that sustainable, or kind of born by the need of lacking talent, is how do you make your technology more seamless, more integrated? And you know, Erdal, you know, my journey was to integrate and connect stuff rather than having, you know, 1,000 islands of technology solutions out there. Is how do you connect those things? How do you get for my incident response team to see the pane of glass? How do you get to my operations team a level of simplicity and automation? You know, and that's where I think ML and AI capabilities can help. The minute you connect the dots, the minute you see the data, you can do better risk decisions, right? Yes, you still need the skills and the people to look at that to make those decisions. So my recommendation to everybody is, don't just go out on the market, buy best of breed, put them where you think they fit, but think about how you connect the dots. Make it easier for your people. You know, I just had another talk about a couple of days ago where we're talking about, aren't your people scared of ML and AI to make their jobs redundant? And I can promise everybody in the world, we just don't have enough people to make this work, right? We always need those people. We need to automate the stuff that's low value, that's repetitive. You know, we need to automate the stuff that we want to get rid of, to look at the fancy stuff, the exciting stuff. You know, I would say, you know, real hands-on security people are all geeks. I mean, I run the security function here, but the teams are really making the difference here, and we want to accelerate and grow them. So my recommendation is look after your people. You know, equip them with technology, not thousands, a few. Yes, you need best of breed in certain areas, but I think not everywhere. Right, and the third one is how do you keep your team engaged? This, I think, are the biggest topics, and that's why I said ML will help. It will help us to get rid of the problem of talent. You know,
You reminded me 10, 15 years ago when cloud was new. People were asking, is cloud gonna take my job? The answer was yes and no. As you said, yes, if you don't skill yourself up, if you don't adapt yourself to the new technology, unfortunately, you're going to be outdated, regardless if AI or cloud or you name it what comes. So in this meta magic, to you, is your technology going to take our job, or is your technology going to help us to be better?
Thank you. It's very nice question. Actually, Trend Micro technology will help us to have more convenient and relaxed lifestyle. So I totally agree with Mr. Thomas about what he said, how to break this silo visibility in your infrastructure, how to enable your solutions to have intelligence sharing between each other, to have your protection across your organization automated, to minimize the human factor, not to fire people, but to let them focus on their own business. Our customers, their business are not the cybersecurity. Their business are their own business, and this is kind of disrupting action happening because of the cyber threats. Our goal is to help them to mitigate it and to make it as much as efficient and cost meaning for them. So I was extremely happy to hear today our speakers in the event excited about what we call it endpoint detection and response, which is EDR. What about the data center DR? What about the network DR? What about the cloud DR? What about the email DR? This is where the new concept came to the picture, and we need to separate this news between our colleagues and our partners. We have something called XDR, which is detection and response across your organization infrastructure. Don't focus only on the endpoint DR, because you are creating another silo visibility of that area. You need to have a cross detection and response platform across your infrastructure. This is where Trend Micro XDR solution came to the picture. And of course, because of the tremendous volume of data that we collect from the endpoint EDR and from the data center DR, network DR, and the cloud DR, email DR, it becomes extremely big. It cannot be a human traced or processed. So you need a smart solutions, a smart platform where can accept all these feeds and process it and do the analytic and take a decision on our behalf. This is where the AI and machine learning is needed. This is where we empowered our XDR platform from Trend Micro with artificial intelligence and machine learning to be able to take decisions and to define what we call it zero-hour threats or zero-hour attack, because we need this process to be almost real time to maintain our business continuity.
I love how you took my question, embedded a little bit advertisement in it, and connected back to my question. Now I know why you lead in the country. Dear Sultan, I didn't forget you. So what is your thought on this? Do you think AI and machine learning is going to take our jobs? Or do you think the solutions as Thomas and Abdullah, or as Majid said, is going to help us to be better? Your opinion, please.
Yeah, actually, it's creating more jobs, actually. I mean, you need, maybe you can take an example of organizations who are adopting the artificial intelligence or the machine learning models. They actually have more resources now. I mean, it's not about automating the routine tasks. It's about also analyzing, cleansing, organizing the data, creating patterns, utilizing the service with different, let's say, platforms, whether it's digital transformation, whether it's RPA or any any activity to enhance the business and the quality of service and the customer satisfaction, response, quality of products. So I notice actually with some organizations, they hire actually more people now because the technology is not, let's say, stable enough, or let's say fully automated enough. So as of now, I don't think it's a risk. Rather than it's an opportunity actually to create more actually service, broaden your insights, going to a new territory. It's like an enabler to the business rather than it just cutting the FTEs and reducing the headcounts. So I don't believe actually it is reducing the manpower.
Honestly, I totally agree with you. Now, Majid gave me a good idea. He took my question, he embedded Trend Micro in it. I want to take this and ask similar question to Thomas. Thomas, when we talk about machine learning, how is Emirates utilizing the best practices around unsupervised machine learning?
You have to repeat that. Sorry, you were breaking up.
When we talk about machine learning, how are Emirates utilizing the best practices or AI? How, I mean, as he said, there is lots of data. I mean, knowing you, God knows how many airlines, God knows how many customers, God knows how many clicks per second to your website, even though in this busy time. I know you had lots of flights. What are the best practices that you're utilizing in your organization as head of security to the group?
It's a difficult one to answer on the spot. I think let me turn around the question. let me learn from what we just. I think maybe the challenge I would love to solve with ML is a little bit going away from the incident response side of the house. I mean, when you have data, when you have a team looking at data, that's one thing where you can learn fast. One of the things where I'm trying to spend some more time on with the team is to understand how do you use machine learning in the more protective side of the house. And that's similar to the talk we heard earlier from Trent, where we talk, what do you do in the DevOps or the DevSecOps world, right? How do you protect or prevent when somebody needs to submit code within days or hours, right? How do you prevent when there was a mistake that the code still can go live, right? But the ML technology jumps in and protects the code right away so that the developer has time to fix it. That's something which I wouldn't say bothers me, but I'd like to solve with machine learning, right? Of course, you train the developer, you get them up to speed, but can you do something to protect things from happening while they appear? If I do a simple thing, right? If a SQL injection vulnerability is in the code, can you still go live? I mean, there's technology out there that prevents it, but connecting that dot, the minute it is published, that the rule in whatever other technology that prevents it, that the rule fires and protects that code, that's where I think the real benefit comes in. So prevent those threats from happening right when they create it. That's something I'm really keen on solving with potentially MAI and big data, etc.
By the way, I took this question from the chat box. Otherwise, I wouldn't ask my friend that question. Saying that I know you very well. You would be answering even harder questions. All right, dear Abdullah. Now, is cybersecurity a proactive approach? If yes, is MI or machine learning helping to be more proactive or reactive? What would be your thoughts on this?
AI, I believe the best method is to go with a proactive approach. So AI is something new in the market, especially in the insurance industry. We have it for claims, we have it for underwriting and fraud detection. It hasn't been implemented yet fully in Saudi Arabia, but it's something that will happen in the future. So with a proactive approach, as I stated before, you start with the threat hunting, ethical hacking, penetration testing, making sure that everything is safe and secure and tightening in your systems. You also have a managed SOC team, a security operating center, to detect it 24/7 if anything was fishy with your logs and within that nature. Another approach is to have MFA, multi-factor authentication, vulnerability scanning 24/7, making sure and having quarterly reports or monthly reports, you can say, of the vulnerabilities that you find within your system, such as Mr. Thomas said with SQL injections, security awareness training, making sure your employees are in line with you in security, not only the employees of the cybersecurity and IT department, but all of the employees in the company.
Abdullah, sorry, Abdullah, I think you are speaking really fast and we could not hear you very clearly. I'm so sorry. I just thought I should let you know.
Okay, great. Yeah, I usually talk very fast, so please just stop me when I'm talking really fast. So we were saying cybersecurity and a proactive approach. I believe proactive approach is the best method because it starts with threat hunting, moving down to ethical hunting, ethical hacking, which is make sure that your systems are all tightened and secure. proactive network and endpoint monitoring, making sure that all logs are safe and there's nothing fishy going on with your logs, and no one's manipulating your logs or stealing your data. Another thing is multi-factor authentication, making sure that there's multi-factors of accessing a system. And also having a security operating center is very official. To have it efficient, sorry, to have it 24/7, so that a designated team will be monitoring your systems and making sure that everything is running perfect and that no one has intruded or accessed your data.
I could understand it, maybe as a fast speaker myself, but anyway, dear Sultan, a question for you. Do you think AI will disturb cybersecurity, or it will help the industry to fight the battle against cyber criminals now and in the future?
Sorry, if you can repeat the question. Sorry, there was an interruption. Please.
How will AI disturb cybersecurity? Maybe in a positive way or negative way? Or do you think AI will help to fight against cyber criminals or threat actors which attacks your organization, my organization, or any other organization? Do you think AI will help us, or it will honestly not make much change?
Yeah, it's definitely helping. The behavior of the attackers have changed. The behavior of malware have changed. It's not traditional anymore. The signs, the tactic, it's changing, it's evolving. So you need a partner with your journey in fighting and detecting the abnormal behavior or suspicious behavior. Even now the latest technologies are embedding machine learning and a novel way of detecting the abnormal, the honeypots, the EDRs, the advanced SOC techniques and SIM solutions are all actually enhancing based on how good or how predictive or how accurate is the machine learning technique is embedded. So it is a winning battle. However, the human factor or the human part is essential to that, because you cannot completely delegate the action or the responsibility of identifying a legitimate attack to a machine. This is something it could happen to some extent, but the ultimate call and the decision should be by human, where they analyze other factors which cannot be automated or which cannot be interpreted by the machine. So I think it's just a matter of time to what extent the machine learning technique will really make it very challenging for attackers.
Now, you heard all my question, dear Majid, without going to much marketing, okay, which I'm pretty sure you're gonna take it. What is the best? I mean, I'm just checking your LinkedIn before this question as well. You work to other companies, so if you move, let's say, to a role with us here at Standard Chartered Bank, what is the most favorite feature in Trend Micro regarding AI or machine learning, which will help me or can help anybody else?
Thank you. It's amazing questions. I will try to filter it from the commercial part or marketing part. To be honest, the most beautiful feature we have deployed the artificial intelligence and machine learning, and the customers can touch it. It's tangible for our customers. Is our email security solution is empowered with an engine now. It can learn about your email writing style. So if you get an email, business email compromisation in your organization, and I think this is something in banking sector is a lot, you need your security solution to be smart enough and advanced enough to differentiate, is this email is legitimate, is this email correct? And it's not about to check the source of the email of the sender, because this can be manipulated and it can be changed now. So you need to have more smarter factor to check this email legitimate or not, correct or not. So This is where we can use the machine learning and artificial intelligence in very specific product, where we can learn this software about the writer of the emails style of writing, and he can immediately flag any odd or weird emails from this point of view.
Great. Now, our topic name, addressing new cybersecurity blind spots, leveraging AI and ML. I think, Mr. Biary, I want to start now with you. What do you think the new cybersecurity blind spots are, and how AI or machine learning can help us to find these blind spots? I mean, I drive a German car, being born in Germany. I remember my car had a beautiful technology which was detecting the blind spot in my car. Today, everybody is following that. Now in cybersecurity, what are the trends which you think that everybody can follow in the future as well? Two questions in one.
Okay. So when we think about AI and how it's being used nowadays, we use it on social media. There's ads on search platform customized based on your searches. AI on maps that uses by Uber and Careem for transportation. AI in the insurance field, such as underwriting, customer services, claims marketing, and fraud detection.
We have some people, they don't speak natively English. I'm going to ask you to slow down a bit. Honestly, I understand you very well, but I don't want my friends from CISO to get me.
I'll try to go a bit slower. All right, so basically we tried to start off with what is AI used in industries nowadays. So in social media, we personalize what is shown in your account. You have your friends suggest them on ads, on the search platforms, customized based on your searches. AI is on maps to find you the best route. This is used by Careem and Uber and things within that nature. AI on the insurance, such as underwriting, customer services, claims marketing, and fraud detection. So these are very big platforms that are being used right nowadays on AI. And the banking systems to detect normal and fraudulent transactions, and hijacking of artificial intelligence. Hackers could use these techniques and systems that work on assisting us in order to compromise our data or our security and our lifestyle. So this is a very huge risk for us. Another thing is when AI modeling is being conducted, security is usually the least thing they look upon. According to a study, that 73% said that security is the last thing they decided to work on. So if security is the last thing, think of that, how much data could be stolen, and if you don't have a good DLP system on it, how could you prevent this from happening?
Thank you. For the ones they couldn't hear, I'm gonna get the highlights at the end one more time. But now the same question to you, dear Sultan. What do you think? Our topic name, addressing new cybersecurity blind spots, leveraging AI and ML. What are the blind spots of today in cybersecurity, and how AI will help us or machine learning?
Well, actually, it's just another way of detecting the unknown. So you shouldn't completely depend on one source. You should diversify your sources, your threat intelligence sources, your feeds from national regulators, from international, open source, proprietary. So you need to actually get as much information as you can, and just funnel all of these data to something that's meaningful. This doesn't happen overnight. It needs expert with you. It needs sometimes professional service, and there is no shame of doing that. It just putting the data scientist, especially in the field of cybersecurity, make it easy for you to unify and to cluster really the important data you need. So I don't think organizations should take this risk and take this burden and do it themselves. They should partner up with experts from the industry.
Thank you. Thomas, same question to you.
I think there's tons of opportunities, and I think for one that I believe we all will see further insights is what I would call, you know, the so-called supply chain risk. You know, where we are all working with more and more suppliers, with more and more contributors, where you don't have insight into your supplier security unless you do the traditional, you know, we check on them, we audit them, etc. And I think there is an opportunity in the market and in general to use ML technologies or big data analysis, anonymized data sets, like concepts of SOC of SOC, seams of seams, whatever you want to call them, where you look wider on what's happening in an industry. And I think even the Middle East has a perfect opportunity to look at this because of some of the unique threats we're seeing. To say, how can we leverage this information into better threat intel, into better insights, to understand what is happening to our suppliers, our contributors to our value chain, right? And how do we get more insights into what's happening over there? I would say, I mean, if you read reports about 2-3 years ago, a lot of the threats, a lot of the attacks were coming through your supply chain and not your own estate. So, and I think in general, I would say we as a security industry experts don't take enough attention of this one yet. And that's why I believe those solutions can help a lot. But it needs the industry to collaborate and those suppliers relationships to collaborate much better. That's where I see value as an example. There's probably multiple more, but
I totally agree. Dear Majid, your personal opinion on blind spots?
Thank you. I will reassure visibility, and visibility. Knowing the problem is half of the solution. So I really believe that if the organization has the full visibility on what is happening, this will lead to a better protection and to better mitigation and to have a solid security program for the entire organization. Visibility is the blind spot. Full visibility.
I totally agree. Seeing Jyoti, I can guess we're coming towards our end. And believe it or not, I was already reading the questions. I think we have 7 more minutes, or are we finishing?
We'll try to wrap it up in 5 minutes, Erdal, if that's okay with everybody, please.
No, we want to hijack the session and we're going to continue all day. No. Okay. I went through the questions. I mean, there are lots of questions to Thomas about Emirates security. I think he mentioned, he answered nearly all of them. There is also one question to Trend Micro. Since this digital transformation is a continuous ongoing process and adopting new enterprise management solution takes considerable time, further implementation too many optimization platforms can result in chaos. Training every employee to use new digital tools is also a big concern. How can Trend Micro deal in such situations, especially in banking sectors, and to what extent will it be beneficial? From being in banking sector myself.
Yeah, thank you very much. To be honest, to train the entire employees in any field, not only in the banking sector, is not feasible. We don't want them to become a security expert. But definitely we have to create awareness program. The employees in any organization and the banking, they have to know what is the threats they might get on their laptops and in their internet. They have to have the awareness about the social media and what is the what to share, what to not share, what to do with their own devices or with the organization assets. So awareness program for the employees is our recommendation. Definitely a training program for the security team in any organization is a must. And on top of that, we have to have the elite of the cybersecurity in any organization, where we have the SWAT team of this organization to become the first layer of the hackers and attacks, which mainly, usually they are on the SOC center.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to start this time from right side of my screen. Dear Abdullah, if I forgot to ask something, ask it quickly to yourself. And your close notes, please, about the session. We have 3 minutes left, otherwise Jyoti is going to shoot me.
I couldn't hear you quite well. I got a bit disconnected. If you
As
could,
a closing note, any highlights that maybe I forgot to ask you that you want to mention? And your last thoughts?
I believe we covered it all. I believe everything was covered, and thank you everyone for participating in this and meeting everyone. Is very fortunate to meet all of you and expertise in the cybersecurity field from across the region.
That's it. Thank you. Dear Sultan.
Yeah, I just would say that it's essential that you make the decision towards the adoption of artificial intelligence or machine learning is evolving around a proper risk assessment. So just make it a business decision. Make sure it's not an IT or a security decision, and I think that this will be beneficial for the organization.
Thank you. Dear Thomas?
I think it's an ask and the audience, I think, is focus on your people, develop your people, try to bring in talent, start with automation before you go ML and AI. You know, we'll need you in the future.
I totally agree. That's why I'm writing all these books and trying to attend all the sessions. But honestly, I started to like the moderator. I didn't have to sweat with the questions. I had to sweat to go through the question which is asked and pick one that I like. Anyway, thank you very much for all of you, dear Majid, dear Sultan, dear Abdullah,
Thank you very much,
dear Thomas, and of course everybody in CISO Mag. On behalf of the panel, we're thanking you all for making this happen, and we're going to be watching the upcoming session. Thank you very much.